Okay. Everything looked like it kicked on correctly this time. Waiting for YouTube to tell me I'm good. There we go. Cool. You know what didn't kick on? And it's weird. It kicked on initially was my intro music. Yeah, I don't know why the intro music didn't play. I wonder if I can manually trigger that. Be in the audio manipulator, editing. There we go. So as that's working out, my thing is making noise. I don't want that. Let's get all this set up right. There we go. Notepad. Who am I sharing this stuff with? I have a phone next to it. Hers might be. This might be a little bit more difficult to do. Hey guys, I'm a little late, but I'll get it all set up. Just sending out messages right now. Okay, so let's send those four out, and then there's one more I need to send out, and it's the one with the chat bubble. I'm curious how that will work. Oh, now it finds it. Okay, forward that. There we go. So everyone has a message. Everyone's good. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing pretty well. Okay, we can close this out, and everything should be good to go. Cool. Hey, Viral. How? Oh, interesting that you did that reply, and that's where you. Oh no. Okay, I'm okay. I'm guess why sad face. Oh, you're supposed to be happy face. Hey. Okay. Cool. Everything I think works. Let me check the mouse movement thing real quick. Yep. I'm pushing myself back and forth. Perfect. Cool. So where do I want to? I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty good. We got a lot of new things for the Mario Party like inspired game. So, how are you doing? It says you're doing good. So, or you're doing okay. So one of the things I've done since I last did one of these is I've kind of started designing up what the GUI is going to look like, what cards are going to behave behind the scenes. So I'm kind of showing you some previews of that. So this is the not server. What's a good term? Client. This is the game device. So this would be like your TV or your computer or your stream or whatever. This is the GUI that would come out. 6 players. The top number right here with the little box around it shows 10. Can you see my mouse? Hopefully you guys can see my mouse. Everything's so tiny on my screen. Yeah, you can see my mouse. So the little box right here that says 10, that shows how many cards you have in your hand. The coin is 99 coins. The stars is 99 stars. Then the placement of it. Eek a mouse. Oh, you found an Easter egg. Yes, you can find out where my mouse is at any time in any stream. No mice. Then you have your second in your places. The lower profile image, I imagine to have like a screen that will show your character close up. Turn limit in the upper left corner. This bar right here is a placeholder bar. Since you're not going to be able to play moves in the game mode, I plan to have it where the game mode shows you where the game is currently located. So it's turn 99, we're at the start turn, blah, blah, blah. This black square right here should be a gear where you'd be able to change settings for the system. So that is the general principle of that. I think we can get out of here. How do I do that? There you go. And then the other thing I got was collision physics for movement. So let me start that up real quick. So if we start this up, as you see, there is like a little white box that's flying by really fast. And if I hit the space bar, everyone starts moving towards it. And they'll keep moving towards it until they touch it, quote unquote. And as you see, they kind of move around things and get in ways to get it. This is one of the breakpoints in the demo, is if the two people are beside each other and trying to touch the same point, they kind of keep moving unless they stop at that point. So this is kind of a breakpoint, but if I hit the play button again, everyone starts moving, and again, everyone keeps moving until they find the touch point of that point. And then once they do, they stop where they are. Right now, there's a lot of little bugs. There's a lot of them spinning in circles, which I don't like particularly. Hey, the fool, how are you doing? Here's 100 points for you. Welcome to the chat. So I got the movement working. I don't like that they spin constantly. And if you see, every now and then they try to climb on top of each other, which isn't preferred either, but I think I'll have like a funny, hey, thank you for follow.
Zonk is curious what's next.
Zonk. Good, Houdini is finally home. Woo! What a fool wants, what a fool needs. Yep. The graphics look good. This is the placeholder graphics, so we'll get to there. But this is the system I really want to integrate into the main system, hopefully by the end of tonight. So, and it's actually really simple. I thought this was going to be a lot more complicated system, but the rundown of it is I have this point that just moves back and forth. No real complications there. And that's where this little 3D, not there. No one cares about there. This little 3D box right here is what's moving back and forth. So, and then I have some rigid bodies, which allows me to have gravity and other things applied to them. This is a lot of ChatGPT code, but I understand the gist of it. I just didn't want to code it all up. It actually might have taken me longer to let ChatGPT code it up. You guys can see this, right? Let me zoom in. Make things bigger. I'm not developing on my own anymore. But basically, there's a few things to say, hey, who are you following? How fast should you follow? How much is the separation offset? Which is, from my understanding, the difference of how far I want you to check. And then how long do I want you to get there? These two might not have value anymore, so I'll have to look into that. The faces on the ground look goofy. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just placeholder text I just threw down so that the ground had something that I could see difference on. My Boolean is the test Boolean I have to turn on and off everything. Previous position, self-explanatory, stuck time. So one of the issues I had before is they would group around the point and just like not move towards it enough to trigger it. And I was like, okay, well, I need it so that the longer they can't get to it, the more force they put on, which is maybe one of the reasons why they try to climb over each other. Or see, stuck threshold, similar concept. And then the stuck speed multiplier, how fast do I want it to accelerate? The gist of it is I get their current position. If they are following something and I allow them to follow something, then I go get the desired position based on where they're trying to go and how far I allow them to be off. Figure out which direction you need to go. And then figure out how far that is. That's what these numbers are down here. If it is about a meter, a little under a meter out, then try to keep going closer to it. Once you get close enough to it, you hit here where I say stop moving vertically, and you're done. So we're going to try to integrate this into the old system, which let me see if I can find that real quick. That was under debug. No, not multiplayer. Was it under temp? Where was it? Where was the old system, guys? It's been such a long time. It wasn't Western Ward. It wasn't any of those. Was it in place? Was it place logic? No. Wasn't place logic. Spot. Nope. Maybe it was spot. Nope, that's just where the spot is. Where did we shove the experimental code? Oh, right here. It was in scenes. So this is the old way that it used to do, the non-physics based movement system. So let's see if I can remember how this all works. There's an input. When I hit the accept button, I roll a number of moves, and I think I make the players move around. I think this still worked. Yep. It's nice and slow, but I think I had it where... No, it looks like this is still just one. But basically, the old system, people would be able to move around from block to block like this. But if two people were moving simultaneously, they would actually merge into one being. Why is the camera offset? Oh, it's because of delay. They'd move into one being and then like move together, which being a being isn't too bad. But when it became character models, like walking character models, you get like, because I have 6 players, you get like 12 arms and 12 legs, which doesn't look good. So I think the physics system is better. So with that, let's go to get, oh, that's fine. I don't care about any of that. So let's create a new branch and we'll say integrating physics movement. And we're doing this so that if anything breaks, we have a place to return. And yeah, we'll bring all our changes over. Okay. So we want to edit this scene to include the new scene. It looks like Godot is going to be weird with my highlighting the cursor thing, but that's fine. So let's go jump between these scenes. So we need a bunch of stuff to make this scene work. Actually, before I do that, let's put this to a spin for everyone who's watching. So exclamation point spin space add to add the option. We either integrate this physics movement system, which is going to be a little bit of code, a little bit of design, Or we go back to building Western World and building this map out. There's a lot I messed up from last time. Why can't? Oh yeah, it's Control F. Control F. Nope. Shift F. Shift F. There we go. So we can continue building Western World out, which we did have to put the buildings. I think I had a rough design. Or we integrate the physics. Remember, exclamation point spin, space add, space physics for what you want. And everything should be good. Why didn't it add? Oh my gosh, all the messages. Fire, it looks like it didn't add your option. Oh, I forgot to do something. Spin toggle. There we go. Now, exclamation point spin. Now, exclamation point spin. There we go. Wait, it doesn't? Okay, we're going to turn it on. Spin toggle. Oh, I'm an idiot. Give me a second. The downside to your streaming everything is I have to be careful. Anytime I type any of my commands, if I don't have the settings set up right, it triggers it twice. So now, exclamation point spin space add in the option you want. Let's see. That's a nice model. Oh yeah, I really like this. This is all Synthy Studios, which if you're looking for like low poly models, like this is a great place to get it. And tell for to come to Twitch. No, no, no. Everyone can go to the respected platforms. I support both, at least when I don't have issues. As you guys add options, I'll go quickly through the documents because I know 4 is new here. So if we go to boards and the Western Boom with the train. Oh, nope, this didn't get all ported over yet. Map themes. There we go. Open up always. Where's the open to big? Can I just double click you? Edit. There we go. 4 page. There we go. So we're trying to build like a little Western town. This is the current map design. Is we're gonna have like this visual / old like ravine, a train going around the entire map. We're gonna have a fort that's more American style, a fort that's more Mexican style, and a fort that's more Native American style in like a triangle format. And then we're gonna have a mine in between to free travel versus the train. And the idea behind this is nope, get me out of that. Is the wind condition will be either don't mind this one. This one's been canceled out. Either you have a sheriff chasing you, and the objective is to stay as a free criminal for as long as possible, or there will be a gold rush mode where there will be a gold miner who will appear on certain parts of the map, and you're supposed to go there and trade coins or money or whatever the sub currency will be for gold, and that will be it. But the only way to get to those people is with tickets on a train, so you have to buy the tickets as well. Houdini finally came home. Woo! Okay, so we added some options. It looks like we're good to go. Let's get a spin and see what we're doing today. As I do that, I'm going to refresh this to see. Yep, everything refreshed good on that. Twitch and YouTube all good to go. We are integrating physics. Cool, that is somewhat what I wanted to do. Okay, so if we go back to our test page, places can be what they are now. Eventually, they'll need to become physics objects so people can climb up and on top of them. But for right now, we'll leave them as is. integrate those physics. Oh yeah. So we don't really need the path 3D yet, but we do need the static body on the bottom. So let's go to our test and let's just dump it in here and see what we get. That is not where I want to put it. Let's put it in the test thing. There we go. Um, where are you? Are you really tiny? I think it's really tiny compared to everything else. Let's lock all this up so that it's yeah, it's just really tiny. That's fine. And we just move it so that it's kind of even. There we go. So how are your days been? My day's been pretty well. Worked on accessibility stuff up at my job. Got a bunch of kudos for automating a bunch of testing. So, woo! How about yours? And Fire, how about your day? Okay, so there's the static body. I don't think I need to do anything for the static body because it's static and gravity won't make it fall or anything. So that's good. So let's go back to collision on path. And let's just grab one of these rigid bodies for now. And we'll just paste it in and see what we can get. Oh yeah, you're super tiny too. Why is everything super tiny? Scale, we'll make it 10. Cool. Can I pour you up out of the ground? Yes, cool. Uh, Day's been good so far. Leg has been feeling better. That's nice. Today's been intense. You're at work. Okay, Vile. Hi there, Snook. How are you? Here's 100 Legna lore. And also, everyone knows, if you don't, let me inform you. I'm working on future projects where I kind of need chat data. So I am logging chat data as it comes. Hey, Sonu! How are you? Hope you are doing well. I'll be lurking. Okay, well, stay lurking. So, okay, so we got the thing here. I think if I play it, it will fall. Oh my gosh. Look how tiny this thing is. It's a tiny pill. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some oddities there. Oh, it's so tiny. It's gonna fall through the thing though. There you go. But it shouldn't fall through the bottom because it should have a physics layer. Forced perspectives. Watch this. Watch this. Let's do some forced perspectives here. So it looks big, but when you actually no, it still looks pretty big. I don't know why it was so tiny. I don't know. You use ChatGPT for coding. Have you checked out Claude? The same thing, but for coders. Yes, I have checked out Claude. I like ChatGPT in the sense that I've never had issues with it coding. Um, but I do know of it. I don't know. I have a weird thing with like Claude coding everything. I like just being able to go like, here's the little parts I want to code because I still want to take ownership on a lot of this stuff. Okay, so let's see what we can do. First things first, let's see. Hey, the black and one, how are you doing? All right, I like that approach too. Yeah, it's AI is nice in the sense that it can write like stupid code. Like in theory, all this code is just a bunch of math, which I could write, but I don't want to do the math. I just don't want to do the math. But it's all logically easy. Like you get the position, you get offset where you want to be. You get the direction, which is pretty simple. You just take the current position minus the desired position. Distance, so that you know how close you are, which is, of course, just the length of that three-axis vector, or whatever it's called. Required speed, distance over time, that's velocity. Normalize the direction, basically point in the direction you want to be. Linear velocity, take the direction times the speed. That's taking a three-dimensional array, and the speed, multiplying it across all those gives you that. If the current position to distance is the previous position less than 1. So this is the ChatGPT just going, hey, if you're so close that or if you haven't moved then 1/100th of a meter, then I'm going to consider you stuck, and I'm going to increase your counter. Then it does, if that counter is above the threshold, add the multiply the multiplier, and pretty simple stuff. Like, the logic's easy. It's just it'd be tedious for me to write it all up. I've seen arguments though that say doing the chat GPT and then debugging all that is longer than just solving it yourself. So, but it seems like everyone agreed with me on the right point. Talking about that, let me quickly clear the wheel, because it's date night again, and I will let you guys add options for what I should be eating. So as you do that, I'm gonna figure out what I need to do with the character placeholder. So I have a bunch of code here from before that deals with actually doing the move counting, and I don't really want to get that code removed. So let me make sure this code is written somewhere. Yes, okay. Because if I remove it and it's not written somewhere, I won't have the code anymore. But I do need it because I'm trying to get it where all movement between 2 points is 10 seconds. No matter how far the movement is, I will speed up your character to ensure 10 seconds, because then if it's 10 seconds and you have a max of 10 moves, you're looking at a max on average rating of 100 seconds, which is just under 2 minutes of movement. And that's the max case. The min case is 10 seconds, meaning every character moves only one space. But I think that would be good. At worst, there's options to adjust it, and I potentially will add these options into options in the game so that if you want faster animation, you can have it. But okay, so we have collision. I need a rigid body that is about the same size as this rigid body. Is that the issue? Is the position wrong? I bet the position's wrong. I copy you and paste the position. There we go. Nope, it's still tiny.
9539
oh
is
my
curious
gosh,
what's
the
next.
49539 has followed me on Twitch. Is this the same fool from YouTube? If it is, there is a command, link, exclamation point, link Twitch, and exclamation point, link YouTube, and you can share your YouTube and your Twitch account. Exclamation point help to get more details on how that works. I know Vire did it recently, so. Woo! It is you! Nice! Welcome to the party. Okay, so it was somewhat positional, because now if I play it, I bet the thing looks a lot bigger. No, it is still micro. I do not know why it's so tiny. Okay, so we're just going to have to create it from the ground up again. Not the end of the world. We can do that. So we're going to need to add a new rigid body. And I'm going to just move this rigid body. Actually, yeah, we'll move it up so that I don't have to worry about it. It needs to have a collision shape, so we need to instantiate that. Collision shape 3D. Yep. go. Oh my gosh, I'm so zoomed in that it's not even funny. There we go. Let's zoom in this way. One day I'll get the camera really nice and I'll be so happy. Ooh, hello. Hello, little point in space. This is so tiny. Let's move even slower. Even slower, I guess. There we go. Okay, cool. Tiny, tiny here. Is this your playground for the game mechanics? This is one of my playground mechanics. So kind of the setup I have for it is, let's see if can I pop this out? I think I can. Yes, make floating. There we go. So I don't know if this actually helps much because it's so tiny, but yeah, I can't zoom in. Hey, Jack Kitty, I think. It's the other four. Oh my gosh, so many fours. And Skepsis D. Oh my gosh, everyone's here. Ah, nice Godot stream. Good to see you, bud. Nice to see you too. Welcome back. So how I set up my development is I have add-ons, assets, commons, nodes, scenes, and temp. My add-ons folder contains things that I bring into my thing. I was so confused. There were so many fours. I'm equally as confused. So I only have two main add-ons. I have one that allows me to write code down here. So I could do print hello, and it lets me print hello if I don't make typos. I'm Twitch 4, but this is my YouTube. I don't know which 4 you are. Either way, you can connect your accounts. It's exclamation point link, and then the platform you're on, exclamation point help will tell you how to do such. So I use GDScript input here to do that because I come from Python development. It's my favorite. So quick debug input is nice. Then I have my own custom editor plugin that gives me some plugin capabilities that I like that I've used across the thing. You don't need to know. I'm certain that's the case. Then I have my assets. I wrote a bunch of readmes. I don't know if the readmes actually work anymore. Yeah, there's nothing in the readme. I'll never link it. Okay, that's fine. It's the year of snakes starting tomorrow. Python development. Oh yeah. So I have some utils, which are some scripts that I coded up, which I have. So relay is a global environment to do signal analysis. So I can go, hey, I have a dynamic object that's going to submit signals, but I don't know who the parents are and who the listeners will be. So this is my signal bus that you can look up and stuff. I have a tour script, which doesn't do a bunch of stuff except some tour features. So I have like a report error message, which will actually stop the game at the error. I have a walk directory script to do some directory walking, some file parsing opening, and a notification handler for something or other. This is an internal function. We're using the global notification handler function for items, which yeah, I don't know why I have this. Might be because I wanted a way to globally handle something back in the day. Then I have my vault, which will be where global variables stay that are built on runtime, but then are used across many different things, such as the version address and if I'm in an editor. So I can later in code, instead of doing os.hasFeatured editor, I can just do vault.inEditor. And that will tell me if I'm in the editor or not. So those are some of my global scripts. And then I have common assets. So eventually assets will, or no, sorry. And then I have materials, which I only have the unset material. But eventually assets will get broken into scene types and scene subtypes to determine where assets need to go. Common, this is where common files will show up. These are things that aren't really a scene, aren't really a node, they're just common existing files. Nodes, these are special nodes I've created. So if I go to the path node, the path is a custom 3D path that has a knowledge of its final place. So that when a character lands at the end of the path, it can go, hey, path, where am I? And the path can know. There's another way that you could do this called ray tracing, or not ray tracing, ray casting, which basically you beam a beam out of the feet of the character and go, hey, beam, look for place objects. Whatever place object you're on is where you are. But because I was thinking about doing the physical movement system, what eventually will happen is your character will stop at a place and another character will come walking up and bump you off. You're still on that place. You haven't moved, but you've been bumped out of the way. And I don't want to have to worry about that. So instead, as soon as you get to the where you're going to stop, I go, hey, here's your place to begin your next turn. Loading that up, we have place, which is a bunch of callback things. If you've ever played Mario, let me see if I remember my Mario Party knowledge. Any Mario Party from 4 or 5 to 8, I think, had spaces that you could put orbs or capsules on top of. And I want to do the same thing. I think that's a really good mechanic. It shakes up the gameplay over the game time. And I wanted a way to do this. So a place is the actual location where the character will stop. And then on top of that, there's a side A and side B. It's the sides don't matter except for animation purposes. But basically, you'll be able to put your spot on that side A or side B. And then the place doesn't need to know what is on top of it. It just needs to know I'm a place people stop at. And inside there, there's execute spot. And there you go. On start, on move, and on land, which basically are the callbacks that the character will send out saying, hey, I've started on this spot. I need to keep moving. So here we go. And on move and on land do the same thing, except instead of on start. One thing modern consoles are lacking is old school party games. I don't see them lacking it, but I definitely see them having no good ones. There's only Super Mario RPG, Mario Party, which has been a king for a good long while, and then it had a down period. And sadly, I came up with this idea as soon as it came back up to a good period, so that sucks. But I do think a good minigame, party game is in the market, and I hope to fill it. Then we got the spot itself, which is where a lot of place order logic is right now. I could show you that. Give me a second. How much am I gonna dox myself? Not a dox at all. Woo! Let me open up the program. Because I actually did a lot of design recently, because on top of all this, I understand an update is needed, but I don't want it. So here's some fun UML diagram nonsense. But I've been trying to think of how cards are going to work. For everyone who's new, I'm not using dice. I'm using cards. And the idea is you're going to get a subset of cards at the beginning of the game. It's going to be draft style, so you're going to tear up a packet, pick cards you want, move the packet to the next person, so on and so forth until you get a full hand, and then the game begins. The reason why I'm doing cards is I think it's a better strategy way to go, okay, I have an 8, a 4, a 3, and a 2. And I need to figure out, I'm not going to get more cards unless I go to a shop. So these are the moves I have for the next 4 turns. So do I want to move 8 first? Or do I want to move 2? Or do I want to move 3? And whichever one I move, I can't do that again. So if I choose 8, and then I go, oh, I don't like the next few places. Like maybe I should have moved 2 and then moved 8, and I would have been in a better position. And I like the strategy behind that. But quick explanation about this diagram. Gonna try to zoom in. I don't know how many people know coding, so I'm gonna kind of run by it. So if you have any questions, let me know. You ever played Crash Bandicoot? Crash Ball was dope. I have not, but I would definitely look that up. Exclamation point report, and just type that in, and I'll look it up after the stream. I only know enough to be dangerous. Okay, so UML diagrams are a way to draw code out without writing up all the code. It helps people think of the logic without putting in all the time and effort. So my idea to solve the card problem, and then we'll go back to the spot, is I'll have a card, I'll have some steps for when it's max, min, what type of card it is, all that. And then I'll have behaviors. So I have like when you select it, when you're done the selected phase, blah, blah, blah. And I use this class, the card class, to make what's called a concrete card, which is a real card that's going to be in the game. For example, steer hand here, which is going to have its own image and steps and all of that type of stuff. But then it's going to have its own implementations of the on selection. So on selection is going to be empty, very similar to here. So on selection is going to be very much like the on start. It's just going to be a function that returns a true and nothing else. So in steer hand, I'll be like on selection, take the selected player and make them the active player, and then take the target player. This code might be wrong, but take the target player and use the effect API, which is over here, to take the hand of that player, and it does player logic to do that. And then the great thing about this is all my code for effects and stuff in the game is in this effect API. So I don't have to write out everything over and over again. I can just be like, hey, I need to take the hand of this other player. Do it. Done. Which is what the ultimate goal was. And then I create a card for itself. I store it to the player, and you have a card in your hand. But once I finished up coding up cards, I came to realize spots, which is what I'm calling the capsule and orb spaces, are very similar to cards. The only difference is what triggers them. Instead of you having a card in your hand and you applying it to a player, you have a spot and the player landed it on it or whatever. So I have spots with a name, a trait, a description, all that stuff, and then on start, on move, on land, on place. And then you make concrete spots like I'll be there. Let me move this over. Like I'll be there, which is a spot that warps the placer, whoever placed the card down. Okay, see you for. I hope your family matters go well. The warps the placer, whoever placed the spot down, back to it. So the idea would be is, let's say you know where a star is going to be, or you know where a shop is, and you're like, hey, anytime anyone else lands on this spot, I want to be right here as well. And that's what I'll be there is once another player lands on that spot, it puts it there and does that. And so on land, take the lander, whoever landed on that spot, and teleport the player teleport the player who is the placer to the place and return true. You're working nice. I love when you guys work with me. It makes me feel like we're all being great productive. So with that explanation, whoopsie, close too many things now. That's what this R is going to be, is the baseline of spots. Eventually, I'll expand upon it and have it where there's other features of it. But for right now, this is just the placeholder code for spots that spots will grow from. And that explains the nodes. Then scenes are going to be where like levers are, which is like where we're testing right now. This is a scene where the logic is what it is, and I'm just testing it to see how it is. Eventually, this will be maps. This will be the main homepage. This will be all the client pages, all of that. But for right now, it's just the scene. There's a debug scene also. I'll show you this. Yeah. So I'm trying to have it multiplayer capability. So this is my debug screen to see how multiplayer works. It was a very simple chat logger where I had one program that was the host and one program that joined, and they could communicate back and forth with each other just to ensure everything was working right. So, and then we get to temp. And this is where all the temp code, such as the level and the collision code goes, that doesn't go into my Git repo. And if you're not using Git repo for software projects, I highly recommend it. Basically, this allows me to have a history of all the changes I've ever made in various ways. And I can go back if for whatever reason my computer destroys itself, I have this pushed up to a cloud. I can pull all this down. If for whatever reason if at the end of the stream I go, oh, this was a horrible idea, I need to undo all of this, I can easily do that and it'd be fine. So I highly recommend, if you haven't looked into Git, definitely look into it. So I think that might over answer your question, but yes. Nope, I want it that way. How do I place you back? There we go. Just close out. Okay. So where were we? We were in test. We were trying to make this a collision object. We need it to be a capsule shape. So everyone's happy, it looks like. Yeah. But I'm not. Why? Oh, there it is. Okay. Cool. So now if I go to my character mesh, that's why the scale is 25. But if we were to make this 1, it's going to break that algorithm real quick. But if I then copy this and paste this into you, and then rescale you up to 25, cool. There's my little buddy up there. Are you above your parent? You're above your parent. Why are you above your parent? Why? Because I told you to be 25 meters above your parent. Let's not have that. Okay, so now you're a tiny me. Perfect. And then we can go to the parent and go, hey, parent, you're 25 times bigger. Hey, look at that. And if I play, I bet it's 25 times bigger. No. Why is it tiny? What in the world is making it tiny? What are you yelling at me? Scale changes to rigid body will be override by physics engine when running. Change the size change the size in the children's collision shape instead. Okay. So you want me to have this at 1, and then you want me to go to the children's collision shape and make this 25. That's great. Is it going to scare the children? No, but it did stop it. Look, it's floating now. So, okay. So what we need to do is we need to make this 1 again. And the mesh needs to be underneath the collision shape right now, so that when we scale it up, everything scales up evenly. We have a character that doesn't fall through the ground. Woo, how long has it been? It's only been an hour. We're doing great. Okay, but we have a character that doesn't fall through the ground, and that's actually a big positive. So, I bet I can take this script and move back to here and grab it and drop it into this body. And that should be all we need from the old case. So now, if I go to this body, there's a path follow case. And for right now, I don't think the path follow has to be anything fancy. Or does it? It has to be a path follow 3D. But we do have those. I just don't know which place it's gonna be moving. Which place are you on? You're on place 2. Cool. So we know the path to place 2 goes to place 3. So we can just grab this path follow and put it in this guy. Right here. Now, if I was to hit play, and then I hit space. Hey, look at that! It looks great, doesn't it, guys? It looks beautiful. Let's have you move again. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, cool. So that's actually showing a lot of promise, even though it looks bad. So now we could grab my rigid body and let's try to shrink him down so he's not falling too far. So it's like 25, I think, it was where I had it before. Yeah. Of course, that looks a little low. He's a little inside. So let's get him just above there. Eventually, that will have to be... Yay!
Skepsis_D is curious what's next.
What's next? We're going to be doing game dev. Then Arcania of Time this weekend. Part 3 of the Black and Me's competition randomizer. Which if you want to join, you can join. There's money, cash rewards, and the Black's going to give some stuff as well. So it's going to be great. Okay. Thank you. This was amazing. I love that this all worked as well as it did. Because to me, the idea of all the characters like meshing into each other looks bad. But I love the idea of like your characters pushing each other out of the way. There's going to be headaches in the future with this design, but I think this design's going to be great. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be lovely to see it once I get it on this system. Because then we can create 6 players and actually see like what it would look like. So, okay. We might need to create a new script. Because we need a combination of this script and a combination of this script together. You put them together. So let's open up, not Notepad. I do not care about Notepad. I want Notepad++. Good thing I didn't leak myself there again. Nice. We'll create a new one for that and a new one for this. Cool. Hello, J Baby. How are you doing? Here's 100 Legna lore for you. Okay, so we're gonna jump this code in here, and then I said we needed this code as well. This is where it's gonna become more of a coding stream. Hopefully you guys don't mind white on black text. I'm sorry if you do. So let's figure out what we're gonna do here. Is GD script in here? Yes, nice. Thank God. Okay, I feel like the best option is to keep the corridor as close as it is now with the integration. Hey, 45 Gunner! Was watching on Twitch but could not comment. Weird. Well, I'm glad you can comment now. Weird you can't comment. If you want, you can reach out to me and tell me why you might not have been able to comment. Okay. So we need to make this a rigid body because it's no longer going to be a 3D node. It's going to have gravity. It's going to have to behave to gravity. It's going to be rigid body 3D. It's going to be the board character still. It's going to need its place. Going to need to know if it's a dynamic turn-based system. It's going to need to know the turn length and all that. All that's good. However, it will now have a export. Actually, I'll just copy paste this. It will now have a export variable for where it is in the thing, which is nice because that means I can just push it away. My eyes. Let's see if I can help that real quick because I know people don't like it. So, settings, preferences, color, dark mode. Sure, dark mode. Sure. Better on everyone's eyes. Hopefully, I also noticed this is really small. Hopefully I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. That should help as well. Okay, so we copied the path follow. I'm just going to put some comments saying what we've copied so that I know what is here. Speed, base speed used to adjust the velocity. Did we actually use speed anywhere in the code? No, we do not use speed anywhere in this code. We're going to remove speed. We don't need it. Separation offset. I do think we should still have that. It should be an export variable. Really, the path follow shouldn't be an export variable because we should. No, it has to be an export. No, it doesn't because place. How do you know what path you're on? You get it from selected path. Selected path is coming from whoever card's board move. I don't think board move get card here. Dark mode for life. Okay, well, we got dark mode. Let me open up Godot and see if I can search. Find and fires. Find. So the character gives you the path it was found. The path comes from enable path. It Where am I? I'm in the place. Okay, so yeah, we do not need path follow because we will calculate that dynamically from the place. Because the place tells us where we're going to go to next, be it one place or multiple places, and then the player will select which path they want to go down if it's not one. So that makes sense. Separation offset, I feel like I need that. I need to figure out what exactly that is, but it is important. And I'll put it here. We'll do this and copied variables. Uh, Definitely. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Okay. Talk to you soon as well, 45 Gunner. Thank you for stopping by. Target time. I feel like target time is going to be very similar to turn length in seconds. Yes, that's how that works because it actually is going to be similar to step length in seconds. Because I didn't want 10 seconds per step, I wanted 10 seconds per turn. So for 4 players, it'd be 40 seconds. However, I've now have 6 players all moving at the same time. So that might get up to like 30 seconds later, but that's going to be a hard-coded value. So let me comment it here. We'll just do 2 for this. We want similar to. Oh, my face is in the way. Give me a second. There you go. Now my face is not in the way. Similar to target time. Then we have my bool, which I don't think we need in here because we do a board move and then we stop because what this is getting us the time in seconds. This is making a single board move. And board move gets caught by something else. That's what it is. Is board move. Gets caught in here, which move character. It caught in here on move. Who calls this in a loop? Where's my while loop? It's in test, isn't it? Yes, there we go. This is where I go, hey, keep moving if you have moves. Yep, okay. So I don't need. Oh, no, I do need a Boolean to tell me when I'm done moving. Because I keep progressing the path forward. Oh, that's going to be weird too because the path is not attached to the player anymore. The path is going to be attached to the place. So this while progress is not 0, move forward is going to be, that's going to be changed. This is going to be a big function to change because still in work mind. This is going to be a lot of changes because this assumes that there's a player cart, which in my old code, it did have one. So if I open up any of these places, you have a path, and then you have this remote 3D element, which is what I call the player's cart, which I put the player in, and then the player kind of rides with it. Hey, Yuki, how are you doing? SirLegna! Hey, Yuki! So I put the player in the cart, and then I technically push the cart down the path. Now, the path is going to need to know some things. We're going to have to. I'm doing well. We're just kind of coding up, reintegrating a new movement system. So let's put some chaotic things here. I think it's 3 quotes. Yeah. So we're going to have to change this code up a bunch. So we're going to want to. How are we going to want to do this? Because the place is going to need to know you're creating a new movement system. So you can say, yes, like move it in, move it, movie? No. So the old system, everyone kind of ran into the same spot and kind of merged into one. The new movement system, so there's like this little white dot that's moving back and forth if you see it. The new movement system, everyone starts hitting each other and like pushing around each other as they need. So it allows the movement system to kind of be more dynamic and everything. So you like to move it, move it? Yeah, I like to move it, move it. Okay, so back to the code. We are going to need to. Do we care about the path? We don't necessarily care about the path. We care about the following point. So receive or parameters going to be the following point, which is the path follow 3D. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. There's gonna be a lot of nice little features of it. Like people are gonna be able to push each other out of the way as they're going across the board. And I plan to not have any restrictions on how far you can be pushed because I have this little bit of code saying move back towards the center. So I'm planning you get pushed out of the way. You might fall off a cliff, and then the next turn, the first thing you're doing in your turn is climbing up the cliff to get back to the starting point, and then you move. So that would be funny. So we don't need the remote player, we just need the point, and we need to know, we need a callback. There's going to be a few functions actually. This is going to rewrite a lot of things actually. Ugh, I don't like that. So the place is going to have a call do I care if the player is back at the center point at the start? No. I only care that the player is back at the center point by the end. Because if you climb up the cliff, but if you climb up the cliff and you get behind something, you could get kind of stuck. So I guess I do want you to start your turn at the starting place so that you can't go behind a gate accidentally because somebody pushed you there and not be able to continue. Okay. So, and I could have a timer where if 15 seconds pass for, say, I just teleport your player right where I need them to be. So we'll go with that. So the place is going to tell me, it's going to say, hey, board, move on this thing, which this is the character. So it's going to be like character.forward move path follow 3D, which is going to be where it needs to be. But it doesn't want to do that call until it has confirmation that your character how do I do this where I'm not? So the issue I have is when I have multiple characters moving at the same time, they're not all necessarily starting at the same time because one character could be on the spot and the other could be all the way down at the bottom of a cliff. And they have to climb all the way back up before they can start. And I can't have all the characters climb back up because then it might push another character down the cliff and I'm in an infinite loop. So what I need to have, I think I need to have 6 nodes or n number of nodes on the path follow so that when a spot is toward, hey, I need to move a character, it can go, cool, I'm going to allocate you this spot that you're going to follow. And you tell me when you're ready to move, and I will start up the move. Until then, other people can follow on their paths, but you have yours. However, can I do this? What if instead of every path having a path follow, can I dynamically allocate a path follow to it? So remote 3D is becoming a real big friend of mine because basically what I want to do is I want to say, here's a path follow. Put it into this thing and let it follow, which I can do a test on the collision path. So let's say we take this rigid body right here and we want to make it path follow. So we have our path follow, that's all fine there. Or no, actually that's not fine. We want to make the path follow this thing. And it's going to yell at us saying there's not a parent path follow 3D node, which is true. And if I package it, in here, it still yells at us because it needs to be a direct parent. Okay. So I want, let's get some LibreOffice drawing here. We might draw this out. This might be a little bit more than simple implementation. There's a couple of thought experiments that I need to rethink. Okay. So let's get some LibreOffice. Let's create some players. We have a player here, and we have a player here. Nope. We have a player here. So this one is on the down side of a hill. This one's on the high side of a hill. Can I make an easy, quick little hill? Yes, I can do this. And then I can flip it over the horizontal. There we go. So something like this. So this guy pushed this guy down the hill. Then we got our spot, which we'll just do with a little arch here. So this is our starting spot. which this player is on in happy. Then we have little things like this, which for the purpose of demonstration, we'll just have two. And we will color code these to be associated to each other. So this one and this one will be red. Nope. The outline will be red. No. The fill color will be that red. And then this one and this one will be dark green. Hopefully that is color line friendly or whatever. Okay, so we have both of these at roughly the same point. And at the start of the turn, let's get a text field. So at the start of the turn, no matter which one starts, so we'll start with red. So red does find center of spot, and green does find center of spot. So now both of them are trying to find the center of spot. Red has found it. Green is still moving. So that's all fine. Red now has found it. We can go, cool. ChatGPT, help me. In Godot 4, is it efficient to reallocate, or not reallocate, reparent a path follow path 3D node? 3D node over and over again. If not, what other options are there for a node to hop from path to path? Isn't particularly efficient, especially if you're doing it every frame or frequently during gameplay, which leads to unnecessary overhead. With the updating, yep, that's what I thought. I can use multiple path 3D nodes, have instead of reparenting, have multiple ones and switch the active to needed, hide the visibles, yep, okay. Control path offset manually, nope, that's not going to work. If your goal is to follow a path, not necessarily have the node of a child of the path itself, you could use node, follow path, that's all fine. Script a custom moving thing, I don't want to really do that. So let's do, is 6 times 100 spots or 100 places so that's 600 nodes. Is 600 nodes worthwhile if only 6 are active at any time in the game play? This is idea 2 that you presented. I don't think it's too bad, but I do think it's concerning. Managing 600 nodes, but only 6 are active at any given time. This is generally a reasonable approach performance-wise, assuming that you manage the nodes correctly and only drawing updates on the active ones. However, there are a few things to keep in mind to ensure the efficiency of the solution. Benefit of using multiple nodes: inactive nodes are not calculated. If you disable, if properly disabled, and hide the inactive nodes by setting their visibility and property cost or removing them from the scene tree. We're not doing that. They won't consume much CPU and GPU usage, so you're only paying for the performance costs of the active ones. Simplified path management: keeping a separate path file on 3D node for each path allows for easy switching between paths and have clear control over which one is being followed without complex calculations. Downsides: memory overhead. If you aren't updating inactive nodes, if you aren't updating inactive nodes, having 600 scenes in a tree or at least loaded in memory increase memory usage. However, in most cases, unless the nodes are very heavy or contain a lot of resources, which they won't, this shouldn't be too much concern on a modern system. Managing a large number of nodes in the scene tree can add complexity when debugging, especially if you're doing a lot of switching between nodes, plus or minus. I'm not switching between nodes like that, so that shouldn't be too bad. I know what they're saying. So what they're saying is if I was putting the character associated to the node, that switching can be a lot of overhead, or a lot of tree complexity. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the character get the node and associate it. So there'll only be one or two associations every so often. Optimize node management: pooling the nodes instead of having 600 creating an active at once. You could use object pool for inactive ones ready to be swapped in as needed without needing to create new ones every time. I mean, that's basically going to be the thing I'm going to be doing, so that's fine. Efficiently switching between active and inactive nodes. If you decide to go this route, make sure you efficiently disable and enable nodes when switching between paths. For instance, you use the active flag and avoid unnecessary update on inactive, stop process logic, or moving them. Yep. Alternatives: if memory and performance is your concern, okay, here's a more manual solution. You could consider controlling the path progress yourself. Ooh, I know what they're saying. I could do that. So what the alternate solution is don't have the place have the path. Have the place have the path data. And then have the path data get passed to the character. The character have or not even the character, it could be a floating object that the character parents or executes control over. But that floating path I dynamically change depending on which place it is. So it'd be one path, it'd be 1 point per character, which would be significantly efficient. Oh, that would be so much more efficient. But the logic would be somewhat hell, because the concern I would have is this. Nope. This curve would just be a curve. It'd just be a 3D curve. So that wouldn't be too bad. I think curves, I want to say curve 3D is serializable. Even if it's not, the curve is going to be attached to the place. I would literally just be going, hey, place, what is your curve? And what is your next place? Oh my gosh, that's a super efficient model. Oh, thank you, ChatGPT. That might actually be like the way I go. I know what people are going to say. You're pre-optimizing stuff, but like this is going to be a core thing because there's going to be at most 100 spots or so on a board. And if I have 600 nodes, that's not including the spot code. That's not including like the orbs or any of that stuff. It's just the path from node to node. 600 of them would be a lot. But this new model, it would not have 600 nodes. It would just be a node from point to point, a place portal for it that I go, hey, here's your place. The character owns that. They don't carry it because then it follows the character and I don't want that. So it'd be the character board piece would carry it, and the character board piece would have the path and the character underneath it. Um, Anyone who's listening to my insanity, do you think we should go that route? I think we should. But I would love to have people knock off ideas with if you have any ideas. Because if we do, I feel like I need to start a new scene and recode this up from like the ground up. No one's answering. So I'm going to take that this is the desire. So off to make a new one. Okay. No, maybe not. We can use this existing one. So places no longer have ads like that. They are going to have a new type of object, which is going to look very similar to pads, which is just going to be the curve bake interval. What is a bake interval? Come on. The distance in meters between two adjacent cache points, changing the first cache to be recomputed at every time get bake pads or get bake length function changes. This is smaller. The smaller the distance, the more points in cache, the more memory it will consume. So user care. Okay, that's fine. I don't think that's going to matter too much because all this is the curve. So no, it doesn't matter at all because I'll have the curve be a dynamic thing. So literally, I just have to have the next place and the curve, and that allows me to dynamically declare paths. So let's create a new script. I'm going to be watching this stream multiple times as I code this. We're in test, so we're going to need to create a new script. And this is going to be a GD script. It's not going to inherit anything. It most likely is going to be a ref count. Yeah, ref count. Oh wait. How do I create a ref counter again? Ref counted. That's what it's going to be. Because I do want memory management of it. Right? Because there's going to be potentially 600 of these They're all going to be loaded into memory because every path is going to have it. It's going to know its curve and its next point, which are going to be a count ref, I think, or a ref count as well. I think curves are ref counts. And a place would be a reference. So I don't think that would be a ref count. So it'd just be a bunch of curves, really. And there'd be no underlying code because it's just a package. But what is the equivalent to why is my brain going blank? What's the unity? What's the term? What's the unity thing of a file that's just data? A file that is just data. Saving data is critical. High player pref. I don't want the player pref. I don't want the JSON. Don't want the JSON util. What is the code? Monkey. No JSON. To a file. What is JSON? Saving and loading, connecting. I don't think his video. Saving the Unity from JSON, save, unload, save multiple files, load multiple files. Yeah, this is his older video. There's a is this it? Demonstration, saving using a file class, parsing the string, running. Hello, advertisement. Thank you. There's a fire type that I'm just mentally not picking up. And I'm losing my mind. What is the way to save serializable data in Unity that is not putting it in JSON? I think I am thinking of resources. I think you're right. Let's go find resources. Ref counted versus resources. Oh, there was a document explaining what the major difference is. Okay. Resources. Are data containers. They draw sprites. Cool. Yes, resource. resource inheritance from ref counter. So I missed a lot of the conversation over the last 20 minutes, unfortunately. Uh, if you're not thinking of resources, no, I think it is resources. To kind of catch you up. I'm trying to optimize the code beforehand, and initially, the design we were going to look at was going to have 600 nodes in it, just to get all the path mapping between 100 points, potentially more than 600. But then it provided an alternate where instead of us having the path be mapped out, which is going to be annoying development wise, but it's going to be helpful in application case, which I rather be annoyed myself than annoy the user, is instead of having the spots have their paths, we're going to have the spots contain, or the places contain the data the path makes. So that will be the next place and the curve to get there. And it will store all the next places and all the curves in a data format. And then when the player gets on top of it, the player will go, hey, place I'm on top of. I'm done moving. I've completed my movement. I've released all the movement code from the previous movement. Please give me all the path data you have. Instead of right now where we have it where it kind of like shares the path data with the place and then it kind of try to follow it. And the benefit to this is now the character will have its own path object that is empty. It's not going to have any details in it. And then when the player selects the path, when the player selects the path, because we can just point the direction based on the place you're going to, when the player selects the path, we can go, okay, path object, here's the path I'm going down. Please just draw the line that the developer, me, wanted me to go down. And then that takes the 600 nodes and compresses them down to 12 nodes. 12 nodes plus the character node, but the character node's going to just be a wrapper. Which to me I think would be super efficient. Skepsis, if you think otherwise, please let me know, because I've been trying to figure out this, but I think it'd be an efficient model. So as you do that, I'm going to read through the Godot references. Okay. Resources base class and all Godot things. So primary is data containers. Since they inherit reference counter, they have a reference counted and freed when no longer used. So that's fine. They also can be nested within other resources saved on disk pack scenes. One of the most common objects in it as a resource is unique capability of storing and instantiating nodes. It can contain as many times as desired. GD script references are loaded from disk by the reference path using this. So that would mean I could theoretically store everything on disk and load it on call. That could be problematic rendering time. Could load a subset of them. The engine keeps a global cache of all loaded resources referenced by pads. Yep, okay. And see, resources will not be freed instantly after they are no longer used. Instead, the garbage collector will run periodically to free resources that are no longer in use. When to use nodes? Okay. So objects, ref counters, and resources. When should I use these? Nodes aren't cheap. They have limits, tens of thousands. Yep, okay. Objects are the smallest, must use manual memory management. With that said, it isn't difficult to create your own custom data structures or even node structures that are also lighter than the node class. Example, see the tree node. It's for a high level customization of table contents with arbitrary rows and columns. The data it uses generates visually through an actual tree item object. Advantage, one of the simplest, improves iteration over time rather than working the entire node tree. These are a little bit more complex objects. They track themselves, deleting loaded memory no longer needed for them to exist. These are also used in majority classes when one needs data in a custom class. So that is promising. The file access object would be it. Resources are more complex. They have the innate ability to serialize and deserialize, save and load their object properties to and from their resource files. Scripts, pack scenes, and other types. I like the node the player lands on contains the resources of the trait or any other things on that tire, and then the player runs a script to see those traits affect the player. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that too. And I think ref counted is what I want. Because all it needs is where is this path eventually going to end, so they can do a handoff to the from the player from the first place to the second place, and then it also just needs a path from one point to the other, which is just a curve. There's so many ways of doing anything in Go. It can be great and bad at the same time. Oh yeah, and I'm weird. I was trained to optimize as much as I can, so I'm most likely pre-optimizing a bunch of stuff right now. So we don't want to scene. Dang it. We're gonna go into scenes right here. And we're gonna create a new script. It's gonna inherit from ref counted. It's going to be an empty object, yep. And this is gonna be path container, path. We'll call it path for now. GD. I know we have conflicts, or we're going to have conflicts when we get to naming that, but because we have path here, but this path extends 3D, and this path is going to extend counter. They're going to be almost identical because this one is going to need my next path, and it's going to need, it's not going to let me do that, right? Yep. And then it's going to need a var. Hello, Scam. How are you doing? It's going to need whatever path has, which is a 3D curve. Yes, curve 3D. So this will be the path, which will be a curve 3D. Give me that Legna lore. You got the Legna lore, right? Yeah, you got the Legna lore. I want to call it path, but that might get confusing because it's not technically the path. We're just call it path for now. So we're gonna have this ref counter, and just for simplicity for right now, we're gonna have a class name, and we're gonna call it new path. So we're gonna have a ref counter that is gonna have a place, and it's gonna have a 3D curve, and that's it. Cool. Then pads disappear as well because now places will have a pad. You didn't get me, Scam. You got close, though. You got close. So now, in theory, I will be able to do a export raw ads equals, is it array? Yeah, it's array. And then I think it's square brackets, new paths equals an empty array. My new path is not currently in scope. I bet it's because it's not saved. Let me save everything. New path in scope now. Export type can only be built in a resource or node. So that is going to be the problem. So it's going to have to be a resource. Because I do want to be able to export it because I want to be able to easily in the editor just design it. So we're going to go to path now. And now instead of that, it's going to be a resource. Which I wonder if that's going to give me the edX export now. No. So it still doesn't like export as a resource. That's fine. Maybe I'm not understanding how ref counter works. I feel like I'm not understanding how ref counter works. How could I make a reference versus ref counted that stores a stores a curved 3D and a custom node. I believe I have to dynamically create instances of the ref counter or counted. And about base classes, they serve different purposes. Reference typically are non-used. Ref counter are often used for things that are tightly integrated. Okay, in the case of storing a 3D curve and a custom node, if you store the string in a custom node in a way that can be safely referenced and manipulated, you can use a ref counter, manage its lifespan. Okay. Here's a step-by-step guide for the ref counter. Define the ref counter. Yep, got that. Create a constructor. Yep, that's what I was thinking. And then dynamically create a new ref counter on that. Working with data, I code up the data. No, I don't like that. If you need a shared object that's managed via reference counting, such as a custom resource or dealing with objects that need to live outside the scene tree but must be managed safely across parts of the game. If you have an object that doesn't need automatic reference counting or memory management, you'd manually handle it. You would use a ref counter to hold both objects, ensuring they are properly managed. You don't need to manually create or destroy instances of ref counter. Godot. Oh. Okay. Open up more tabs. because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I got reference, all the tabs. Yep. This isn't really a tutorial. Oh no, that's just how to do it. Like this is a good solution. And that's why I want to go down this path, is it's a really good solution. Let's see if I can find a YouTube video. How to use rock mounted in Godot. Videos. There has to be a shorter one. What are resources? What the fuck is a memory leak? Memory management. Yeah, this seems good enough. Let's everyone come join me watching this. Sadly, I won't put audio on so that there's benefits, but oh, I have it muted. Unmute. Yep, 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 yep. No. Okay, let's go here. Yep. All right, caption. Sorry. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. That keeps count. Yep. I got that. Yep. 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 Cool. 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 Okay. Yeah, but why? Reference versus ref counter. Godot. I think I literally just watched this. Yeah, I think I just watched this. Custom resources in Godot. That's nice. That's what it was called, I think, in Unity. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. So why did it not like me doing that before? I have all, I guess, array. If I take the array out, export type can only be built in, resource, or no. Is it because, no, this is a oh, I bet it's because I haven't saved it. Is this all because I haven't saved it? It was all because I haven't saved it. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So now, in theory, we could do this, click this. Uh, we want a scene path. These need to have exports. No, it doesn't like export. How did he have it then? Because he got it where, is it because I need to store data to it? Do I need to go equal null? Like, I feel like this is the right way. I don't necessarily like it in the sense that it's going to be a lot of data, but it's not going to have the all the overhead that a node has, which it doesn't need because it just needs to know the path. So how did he? Hello, Honda. Cool. Thank you. Bye. Stats. Yep. Wait. Why is yours able to export? I do export and it yells at me. Why is it yelling at me? Export. Node export can only be supported in node-derived classes. Current class inherit. Okay, so it's yelling at me because place is a node. So what have we learned today? I think we have learned that I'm going to have 600 nodes. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts around it because I need to have the place as an end indicator. And there's no way I can do that unless I put in trust that the character will, at the end of the path, be above the button, which isn't necessarily a true statement. So, yeah. Cool. We have done nothing in 2 hours. But we've come up with a good solution, a really good solution that we can't use. Trying to think of a positive. We still could use it because we could create path nodes that are just a curve and path. So instead of having paths and paths follow 3Ds, we could create a path node and have only one node per spot or one node per path. So in a best case, it'd be 100 nodes. And then 100 nodes per path. And then we have a path node, a proper path node that takes in whatever these path nodes are, next place and curve. And then a follow 3D and that's it. And that'd be 12. So 112 versus 600. I think that'd be better overall. So I think I'll code that up, and hopefully next one I can show you guys the system working in its entirety with 6 characters and places and stuff like that. I'm hoping. With that, I think we are near the end of the stream. So if anyone has any recommendations on people to raid into, otherwise I will go off and find people to raid into, and we will see how that goes. Since this is kind of a more working stream, I think I'm gonna raid into cereal for every meal. I think she's still working. Yeah, she's still working. So I'll most likely raid into that. So it'll be a co-working stream, and we will call it there. So let's start that up. Thank you all for watching. And I guess I could put her on the screen. There's not any big benefits to it because it's all muted still, but you can see her. That's who we're raiding into. So hopefully everything's going well. Remember to thumb the like button, cheer on Twitch if I was able to do that. I hope you all had a great 2 hours of us coding together. And I will, again, try to get the movement system coded up off stream and show you guys the final product where hopefully there will be a lot less nodes and we'll be good. If you haven't followed, definitely hit follow. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe on YouTube. thank you guys again for all the support, and we'll see what we're doing. Missed a lot, but enjoyed what I saw. Looking forward to the next. Thank you. Yep. Next Saturday from 11. Nope. From 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be playing Ocarina of Time with the Blackened One, doing part 3 of a randomized race. If you haven't heard, you can definitely join in relatively easy. So just reach out to me on the Discord. Bye, guys.
2,
1.
Let's see where we're going.